All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the end of day post wave report with yours truly, the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave Price Trigger reports. All right, so today was a very wild day in the markets, a lot of shaking up. And now that the dust has settled for the day, it's time to look at some charts. So let's jump right into it. First chart on the screen is the Australian dollar. So the bulls are still in control of the market, even though the market sold off pretty heavy today. And yes, we're still in a bear market, but the bulls are still in control, believe it or not. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And this happened after hitting a weekly high, new weekly high. Then the market sold off. But because you are still, in the grand scheme of things, range bound with the bullish bias, I see the bulls coming in here to defend, and that's looking what is what's going to happen. Another interesting thing is that right here at the bottom of the Kumo cloud, that resistance zone held, and prices respected it, and then it retreated directly from that. So I'm thinking we're just going to move sideways for a little bit. Chances are tomorrow is going to be a narrow range inside day, and then that will set up for what the market's going to do from here. But the bulls are still in control. Believe it or not, the bulls are still in control. We'll see what the market goes from here, but one day does not a trend make. Long-term trend, still bearish. Short-term trend, still bullish. Next up, we got the Russell My Hustle. All right, so here's what happened in the Russell. The ticker here is IWM. So, curious thing happened. It depends on your perspective, but I want to show you something. Now, in last night's video, we showed you how today's nod should have went to the bulls. Instead, the market gaps down on the open and continues to fall, closing near the lows of the session. Now, looking at that, you say, oh man, something awful's happened. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's the end of the world. Is that what really happened? Or was today a trap for bears to fall into? You could make the argument that today's move down, all it did was come down and close this gap, the gap that was created on September the 9th. That gap now has been completely closed. I believe the market's going to find support at the bottom of the Kumo cloud. Bulls will come in and defend this, and that's why the market is still holding a bullish bias even after today's move. Just because the market has a powerful move up or down does not change a trend. And it does not mean the beginning of a new trend or a continuation of an old trend. The longer term trend is bearish, but the bulls still got it on lock. I think the market's going to come down here. This is going to be bid right back up, because guess what? You have yesterday's gap that needs to close now. All today did was close this gap. It did nothing for this gap. So we do know that a rally at some point is going to ensue because of that. So very interesting when you look at it here. So I think that the bulls are not done yet in this perspective. Next up, we're going to go to real estate by looking at ticker IYR on the commercial side. And as you can see here, in last night's video, I gave the nod to the bears. Well, guess what happened? The market not only gapped down, but continued to fall and closed near the lows of the session. Why? Because we knew that the bears are still in control of this market. There was nothing bullish on here. So, of course, the market fell. And it's finding support right at the bottom of the Kumo cloud. Now, because you're in a bear market and the bears still have the advantage in the market, you can say that the market is still going to be sold. All rallies are still going to be sold. It was sold here, and once again, it was sold here. Every time there's a rally, the market gets sold. and it gets sold pretty drastically. So I think right now, either the market is going to fall out of the cloud and get a precipitous drop, or maybe the bulls will come in here and try to defend. I think right now the nod has to go to the bears, and we have a crash alert for tomorrow's trading in IYR. Now, sticking with real estate, let's pull up another one that people don't like to talk about. It was very popular back in the day, and people couldn't get enough of it. And that's your XHB, the home builders. So the IYR is the commercial side. XHB is your residential. And guess what? It also collapsed today. Now, what can you say? Well, it filled this gap here that was created on September the 9th. And then what did it do? It stopped short of falling out of the cloud, finding support at the base, the bottom of the Kumo cloud. The nod still goes to the bulls. Bulls are still in control of this market, ladies and gentlemen. Until we get an algo shift, the market still has the nod going to the bulls, and you're in a long-term bear market. Now, can this bear market relock back in to a bearish perspective and fall like it did back here? Sure can. It sure can. But it's looking like the market wants to rally. So perhaps today was a bear trap to trap all the bears, and then the bulls are going to come in and just stampede. We shall see. But the nod still goes to the bulls for tomorrow's trading. Got to do what you got to do. Next up, we have oil by way of ticker OIH. All right, so if you take a look at what happened with this one today. So coming into today, we said that this one was going to be a neutral market. Neutral for two reasons. Number one, you had no clear perspective in the market. And two, you're inside of the Kumo cloud of death and destruction. Even though you're in a bull market long term, but the short term is the nods going to the bears, we knew that we were going to be neutral with a bearish bias. That's exactly what we got today. Market sold off, and it's given us a crash alert for tomorrow. So now the seesaw is going back to the bears with the edge for tomorrow's trading. Next up, we have the NASDAQ 100. NASDAQ 100 has just defied all logic over the past 2 years, and here's what's going on now. If you take a look at what happened today, the NASDAQ did fall outside of the cloud, all right, and closed below the cloud. So you may be saying to yourself, oh no, is the market going to lock back in on the longer term trend, which is the bear market, or is the shorter term going to play? Well, the nod still goes to the bulls. The nod still goes to the bull. You have not had technical damage because you haven't flip-flopped from a bullish back to a bearish perspective. It's still a bullish perspective, so I'm expecting the bulls to come in and defend here. Now, I showed you in an example last night, and I'll show you again today, where you can get below the Kumo cloud for a while, and then the market locks back in. So I'm thinking that that's probably what's going to happen here. Your longer term perspective right now, since the markets, have come off from the highs back here, you had your 52-week highs back here in November of last year, and now here we are. Okay, so you had your crash alert here, and then another crash alert here. So on the weekly perspective, you're looking like the market wants to just kind of coast, but it still has a bearish perspective. But on the shorter term time frame, on the daily, you still have a bullish perspective. So the nod still goes to the bulls for tomorrow. Once again, I think we're going to have a narrow range inside day for tomorrow's trading. Taking a look at silver. Now, silver was very interesting today because we had that incredible explosive rally yesterday, which basically just proved itself to be, I guess, bears taking money off the table. And you gapped up too. So today the market did a take back. It said we're going to correct. So the market corrected, gave back, pretty much all of yesterday's gains, with the exception of this gap here. But now you got a crash alert, a primary crash alert for tomorrow. So it's looking like this market wants to put a new leg in and put in a new 52-week low. So silver could be in trouble. SLV is threatening to drop back down into the 1500. I'm sorry, the $15 range. So it's looking a little scary. And we have that that crash alert. Looking at the S&P 500. All right, S&P 500. So the S&P 500 also collapsed and stopped short at the bottom of the Kumo cloud. Can't make this stuff up on the algo charts. It is what it is. But you got a crash alert for tomorrow's trading. So depending on how the markets behave tonight, looks like the market is relocking in on the bear trend. The bears still have control of the S&P. We did give the nod to the S&P for today, to the downside. If you watched last night's video, I did warn you that the bears had this market on lock. And so PulseWavers were very prepared for that to happen. And if you shorted the S&P futures, you were very happy when you woke up this morning. So, you know, the line is still there. The bears are still in control here. So very interesting what's happening right now. All right, bonds, looking at ticker TLT. Everything was in the red today, no matter where you went. You put in a new 52-week low today in your bonds. But something interesting happened. We now have set up for a rally alert for tomorrow in bonds. I know it's weird, isn't it? But we do have a rally alert. And the nod right now is going to the bulls. As you can see here, a rise in momentum to the upside. The question, though, is because this market is a breakout candidate, that means that we could still sell off tomorrow or have one of these things where you look like you're going to sell off and then you reverse and rally, or you rally a little bit and then collapse like the stock market did today. So this is one to be careful of, but you do have a rally alert. So we're going to give the nod to the bulls for tomorrow for bonds. All right, next up we got, I'm getting to Litecoin. You know, I don't do these in order. I just take them as I have them lined up here. But we haven't done Litecoin yet. Let's see here. The US dollar. So we gave the nod to the bears today for the dollar. The dollar decided it was going to rally strong today. So what happened is, you know, the Fed, the White House decided they needed to defend that dollar today, and that's exactly what they did. But once again, it didn't clear any technical damage in the market. So with UUP, you're neutral going into tomorrow now. The nod is going to go to the bears still, but you're neutral because of this gap up. You know, the market's going to have to self-correct, but you're neutral with a bearish bias going into tomorrow. It looks like they want to try to push this thing to relock back in and explode beyond 30. So they keep wanting to hit these new 52-week highs, but you know what's done is done. So we'll see whose agenda is gonna push forward. All right, next up we got. All right, now we're hitting the crypto side. Here is ADA Cardano. All right, so ADA Cardano, here's what it looked like today. So you had a down day in ADA Cardano. It was a breakout candidate going into today. So we were prepared for this, and that's exactly what happened. And this is a crash alert bar, and we did get that. We got that downside production today, so we were not surprised when we saw it. The nod still goes to the bears for trading for tomorrow, for tonight into tomorrow as well. All right, looking at the Canadian dollar. So on the forex side of the pond here, we got an explosive rally today in the Canadian dollar. And coming into today, we gave the nod to the bulls, and that's exactly what we got. And the funny thing is, you also got a new weekly low today. So the market made a weekly low first, continuation pattern from yesterday and Monday and Sunday night, and then it just exploded today. So yeah, the bulls are still in control, and the long-term trend is still bullish as well. So all pullbacks and corrections are being bought here in the Canadian dollar. People love buying the pullbacks and buying the dips. All right, now here comes Litecoin. All right, here's your Litecoin IT. I told you I got you, man. You ain't gotta go nowhere. I got you. I got you. All right, and I thank you, man. I appreciate the support. Much appreciated. All right, so let's take a look at Litecoin. So as we talked about yesterday, Litecoin is in the devil's box on the bear side of the market, which means we expect for the market to break out and rally very powerfully, even without warning. So here's what you're looking at. You came into today with a crash alert. You got your downside production. Now the market is a true breakout candidate for tonight and into tomorrow's trading. We could continue to fall, but you also have the perspective of a rally. This is also a bullish pointer, just like you had one back here. You took out that high of that pointer like the market was supposed to do, and now it's looking like it wants to run from here. So I think we're having a setup of a sideways trading range. All right, sideways market, with this one being the top and probably this one right here being the bottom. So just understand that that's probably what's going to happen moving forward in your Litecoin right now. All right, next up we have Theta. All right, so Theta had a situation that it did today. It was a breakout candidate. So we know that it could go either way. It chose to move downward, and that's exactly what you got with a bullish pointer. So tomorrow is the same thing. It's a breakout candidate for tomorrow too. That's how you know you're really building a sideways market, and because you started getting these variable colors, starting to look like a rainbow, and that's what's happening here. The flip-flopping and rainbow activity. So right now, this one is a sideways consolidation within a bear market. So just keep that knowledgeable as well. So I'm not expecting too much movement either way in the sideways moving market. Next up is Xrp Ripple. Pretty much the same story. You're starting to get colors here. Market is consolidating, and it doesn't like it's trying to really trend at this time. So that's neutral. Next up is the euro yen, which is our proxy for the S&P 500. And as you can see here, what do we got? We got a crash alert for tonight into tomorrow's trading. And the market is a breakout candidate, meaning that it still has the potential to explode higher or fall to pieces. So just be prepared. This one could go either way, but we're going to give the nod to the bears for tonight into tomorrow's trading with the euro yen. Next up is the Bitcoin futures. Bitcoin futures was absolutely horrendous today for anyone who was caught and didn't pop their way. Now, if you remember in last night's video, I did warn you guys to start popping your way through the market, especially if you took the system signals and you rolled this up. I said, don't give back any of your gains. Those that listen to me and tighten the stops, you got stopped out today, but with profit. While others who didn't listen, they got stopped out with losses. So what has this done? Well, now going into for tonight, going into tomorrow, you have a crash alert, but you're also a breakout candidate, meaning this market still has the potential to both crash and rally. All right. So breakout candidates, that happens. All right. Breakout candidates. Remember, when you have explosive moves like this, especially in Bitcoin, you got to pop your way through it. If you're not a subscriber, you need to go to PulseWaveTrading.com. Take the 14-day challenge. It is free. You get to trade alongside us. See how much money you can make in the next 14 days and learn the pop method so that you don't give back your profits in these markets. You got to learn to capitalize on your gains. All right. There's no reason anyone should have lost money in Bitcoin today. Bitcoin walloped people with a 2,200 point drop. If anything today, people should have got stopped out with their profits because you popped your way through the market, which means you should have got up near the highs. As soon as I did the video last night, you should have went in and used the pop method to lock in your gains, and then you'd have been pleasantly stopped out with profit today. All right, this morning, that's what you would have woke up to: profits, not losses, not scrambling trying to figure out what you're going to do. Now, tonight. Looks like more of the same. The nod right here is going to go to the bears. but it's a breakout candidate, which means it can crash and burn and still have the potential to explode and close in the green by the end of the day. That's what breakout candidates mean. So you got to do it. Yeah, man. Keycoin can do that sometimes. I'm a little late doing my video tonight because my computer froze up on me. I had to restart my computer. I was having some issues. So yeah, I feel you on that one, man. That's a tough one. There's nothing you can do about that. Let's see. Next up, we got Ethereum futures. Okay, same thing with Ethereum. All right. You should have popped your way through this as well. You could have got out near the highs of the move, especially if you got long back here. You could at least locked in something. And this one for tomorrow is, it's not a breakout candidate. The nod goes to the bears, and we have a crash alert. And this one's taking place at the top of the Kumo cloud. So you have the potential to drop down to 1350 in Ethereum. You heard me right. The bottom of the Kumo cloud, 1350 is now in play in Ethereum. Ouch. Copper by way of ticker COPX. All right, so here's what's going on with copper. Copper has a crash alert for tomorrow's trading. This one's threatening to fall outside of the Kumo cloud and get down to around the $28 handle. So that's what's up with that one. Dow Jones Industrial Average by way of the diamonds. The ticker is DIA. All right, so last night's video, I told you I gave the nod to the bears, just like we did in the S&P 500. And anyone who shorted, you woke up happy this morning because the market fell out of bed. And yeah, man, I know Dr. Copper with that crash alert. I know. But this one has a crash alert too. The Dow has a crash alert, and it's not a breakout candidate. It is a bearish candidate. The nod is going to the bears. We're looking for a continuation pattern. You've already fallen out of the Kumo cloud, and right now this one's threatening to drop below 300. So can you say DXD? All right. I'm gonna come back to DXD in a second. Okay, GDXJ, the gold miners. All right, so you got a crash alert for the gold miners for tomorrow's trading. This one is threatening to hit a new 52-week low, which would take prices below the $28 handle once again. So be prepared in GDXJ going into tomorrow. Last but not least is gold by way of ticker GLD. Now, I did buy some GLD and some SLV. Tomorrow, the nod goes to the bulls for gold and for silver. I think I may buy a little bit more on the back of today's pullback. I know the long-term trend is bearish, but the momentum right now and bias is going to the bulls. So I may go ahead and add to the pullback position. We'll see. All right, I want to go now and talk about the Dxd, the Inverse Etf. So let me pull this up. All right, believe it or not, just to give you some perspective, the intraday price inflection point was not hit in any of the inverse ETFs, not the DXD or the SDS or the TWM or the QID. None of those intraday price inflection points triggered. None of them, even with the market being as down as hard as it was. That's saying something, folks, and I hope you are listening. If you bought DXD today and you made a little bit of money, or you went and got the SQQ or something like that, that's great. Happy for you. You gapped up today. You know you got to come down and close that gap. But the market stopped short of the Kumo cloud and did not go out of it. Not at all. Now, the long-term trend is a bearish one. Short-term momentum, trend momentum is also bearish. And this is an inverse ETF. It's supposed to be bullish when the stock market is bearish. And here it is. It's telling you that stopped. You had a primary crash alert and the market had dropped every day. Now, last night I told you that, we knew that the denial was going to go to the bears because it's in a downtrend channel. Today it broke that channel, but then it stopped short at the top of the Kumo cloud. So yeah, the inverse ETFs are barely moving. And for tomorrow, now check this out. For tomorrow, it's a neutral. There is no buy signal here. You do not see one on this screen. There is no buy signal. It is neutral, and it's in the Kumo cloud. Now, you can do with that as you wish. As far as I'm concerned, today's rally is going to get sold, and I think the stock market is about to rally for the rest of the year, because that's what I've been warning you about for the last couple of months before we even got to this point. I said I believe it's going to rally to the end of the year, and the wheels don't come off into the first quarter of 2023. Today was just a foretaste of what the first week of January is going to look like next year. All right. Now, the caveat is all the bad things that they're prognosticating for the fall. If those things start to come into play, then the Christmas rally's off the table. We collapse going into the end of the year, and then things really get nasty the first week of January of 2023. Those are the scenarios on the table. I'm hoping that we get a rally to the end of the year, because if that happens, right, that means that the can's been kicked down the road just a little bit more. We got a little bit more time to stack and prep and make coins on these trades. All right, whether the market go up or down. So just prepare yourself. That's why you need, folks, you need the pulse waves. I cannot stress it enough. How else are you going to know what's going to happen in the markets before it happens? You can be reactionary and wait for the market to punch you in the face, or you can use the most powerful trading tool ever created on the planet, these pulse waves, and give yourself the edge to make some money and know what's going to happen before the market even moves. That's what we do here. Don't take my word for it. Prove it to yourself. Go to pulsewavetrading.com. Take the 14-day challenge. See how much money you can make in the next 14 days for free. And if you don't make a dime, or you do everything correctly, you follow the system, and you don't make no money, then you get to come on here and tell me I'm a liar. So take the opportunity. Call me a liar. Go to PulseWaveTrading.com and prove me wrong. Next 14 days should be off the chain financially if you follow the methodology and use stops and pop your way through these trades. All right, you know what to do. Smash the like button. And remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And I'm out. Peace.